doesn't, again, exist. The churches would be open, the bells would be picking ringing, and the people would be piling into the churches and piling up on the pigging knees, wouldn't they? If this was real. The atmosphere would drive them. Death. Yeah. Spirit. Death being in the atmosphere. Anyhow. They've given themselves, I believe, something like 6 months or something. I heard it. Now that gives them time, you see, to sit around and thrash out what a new world they're going to present to the people once this is finished. I wonder what that new world will be. It'll certainly involve a subtle police state. But the thing is, at the end of the day, is that this is all ordained of God. Is this to be the end? It begs a question. Because we've been rushing towards the end of the world in haste. A mad, mad race. Sit back for a moment within your own life. Sorry, that's coronavirus for you. Oh yeah. Right. Sit back. Now if you're of an age of which I'm rather old, you see the remnants of the Second World War spread out across the country. It's a cold time and it's an atmosphere of death, basically. Cold, death, dark. In the 50s, and you come into the 60s. There's still that poignancy of death. And you've got the hippie movement coming up and the drugs movement coming up. But it's still a very straight age, down to earth age. An age in which education was still predominant. People were still knowledgeable. People were still understanding that they had to improve themselves. And that's the word, to improve themselves, that they weren't as good as they should be. And so they sought to improve themselves, to be better people, regardless of the hippie movement. Even they were educated in their own way. And as we move on, things become more and more surreal. So we come into the beginning of the year 2000. The world has become shallow. Education isn't the thing anymore. It's a surface education. People want theatre, people want pleasure. People want materialism. There was no materialism in the 50s, 60s and 70s. No excuses neither. But it began to take place in the 80s, 90s. And now it's all about consumerism. Consume this, consume that, consume the other. Arrogance and so on and so forth. It's just gone berserk. It's gone out of all proportion. You've got the devil's vision, lying, putting out fake news all the time. It's as though there's a door being opened and then wrenched off, and the whole flood of fake news has come out, and the fakery that has come out of government and continues to come out. Look at this virus. Look at it. Fakery. Who would have imagined we would have come to a day and age like this? Who would have thought it? So what? Is this a precursor to? Is this a precursor to the final stage of the end? Are we going to see in our time the ending of this world? Has never ever been anything like what is happening now. Nothing throughout history. It's as though it's Adam, isn't it? In a way. Adam, the first Adam. Everything's going along as normal, and then he sins. And then the whole of the world goes berserk. To use a Gentile common word, berserk. Evil. It's gone absolutely, totally evil. The pit has been opened. And it's as though it's been opened like a second time. Of course it hasn't. But there is that likeness, isn't there? In that sense. That all of a sudden there is something upon us that was not there before. It's suddenly come. What is going to happen in a few months when one of the governments, and probably again the British government, calls time upon this fake virus? What's going to happen? Countries have been broken on the wheel because of this. Industry has been smashed. Commerce has been smashed. Everything that we know and have understood and have lived with prior to this fanciful plague has been attacked. The very foundations of a society that we once knew has been attacked. So what's going to emerge out of this collapse? Out of the great shaking of the foundations of a society that is most wicked. Well, we'll leave it there, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is not the precursor to the closing up of this world, to the burning of all things up, the destruction of all things. The fires of Sodom and Gomorrah falling. After all, this world is reserved unto fire to that great day. And once the last of the Christians have been brought through, have been born again. I say Christians because we were Christians before the foundation of the world. We were in the Lamb's Book of Life, therefore we were justified in the Lamb's Book of Life. That's what the Lamb's Book of Life means. Justification. We lost it in this world when we came into this world. And then Christ was realised in us through conviction to conversion. As simple as that. And he sealed up those in the Lamb's Book of Life through Calvary. Sealed it up. He was the surety up until that point, and the surety sealed himself up at Calvary for his church, and his church alone. And as there was one book, one singular mind of God, of justification, for certain people whom God chose, equally there are books before the foundation of the world, of which the world was in. And they shall be opened at the last day. And we shall be there, because those books are for the world. There's only the Lamb's Book of Life, and we shall be read out of that Lamb's Book of Life. in eternity. There'll be no hall of judgment for us. There'll be no situation of judgment for us. But it is as justification now speaks to us that we are justified. And it's simply when we depart to be present with the Lord, the voice will cry out of that book, that metaphorical heavenly book, that we are justified in heaven. Simple as that. You've returned home. With songs and everlasting enjoyment upon our heads. For we shall return. We shall return to Zion, from whence we came with glorified bodies. And the one that has gone before is Jesus Christ, the only begotten Son of God, who obtained a glorified body, and has gone before. Let us watch and be careful, because this world is wicked. Watch and be careful. There is an awful lot more wickedness going to come in these present days, before the close of this world, before the world is consumed by fire and the elements melt with fervent heat. There's an awful lot, and we, the church, are going to be persecuted.